Welcome to the Travel Like a Boss podcast, the radio show all about traveling like a boss by being your own boss. Stay tuned for weekly interviews featuring guests that have built their own online businesses. If you would like to have access to our entire back catalog, visit travellikeabosspodcast.com for instant access. And here's your host, Johnny FD.
What's up, everyone? This is Johnny, and welcome to episode 128 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm here with my buddy, Chris Lil.
How's it going, guys?
Dude, it's our last day together in this Euro trip.
Yeah, it's really depressing me. It's also my 89th day in Europe.
So, why do you have to leave tomorrow?
Americans get 90 days here.
Yeah, so it's the Schengen visa rule, which is originally made actually for the opposite reason. It's to let people travel freely within Europe, within the EU. But the downside of it is, even though you can very easily come in and just do without a visa and just travel for up to 3 months at a time, for people like us who want to travel longer, it makes it pretty much impossible.
Yeah, this is definitely a place I'm going to come back to again in the future. Definitely next summer. I think I don't have anywhere else to go at this point.
So, if you guys remember Chris's voice, he was on episode 123. That was, how many weeks ago was that?
I think that was just over a month ago now.
Feels like so long ago to me, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, it had to have been 5 weeks ago because I've been doing podcasts every week, but it feels like months, if not years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've both been to different places, and you even split up from me for a few weeks.
Okay, so me and Chris right now are in Berlin, Germany, and I had no desire to come back here on my own or to Poland. I didn't want to backtrack at all. Uh-huh. But yesterday was Chris's birthday. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
So I said, okay, so originally Chris was supposed to meet me in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
No, first you were supposed to come with me and Sam on this road trip.
Yeah, but you guys don't really work, or I have a feeling you guys wouldn't work. I'm sure I was right, and I didn't want to hate you guys while I had to go find a quiet cafe or something.
So at first I said to Chris, oh, don't worry, we're gonna work, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you didn't come, because I don't think we worked at all. We had one day at a coworking space, and aside from that, almost nothing.
Yeah, I would have been surprised if you did.
So I think the only work we did was when we were on the train and we happened to have some Wi-Fi, we would just sit and just do some work on our 3G tethering. Mm-hmm. But every day we were in a different city. We were just traveling around. It was intense.
Yeah, it sounds tiring. And I remember at that point I was already tired, so I was just ready to hunker down for a while.
So you stayed in Warsaw the whole time, right?
Yeah, I was in Warsaw the whole time.
So what made you stay there?
Thus far, it's my favorite place in Europe. And
surprising, right?
Yeah, I really didn't think it would be. I think we only went there to visit friends and just check it out and make our way east, because, again, we were supposed to go on a road trip. But I liked it so much, I just stayed.
So what is it about Warsaw or Poland in general that you like so much?
It's newer and cleaner than most places I've been to, and the value's insane.
Not as insane as Kiev or Ukraine.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to experience it.
But, okay, so Chris was saying to me, he's like, Johnny, you got to reset your expectations, because you cannot consider a country that is war-torn and and has their currency highly devalued to be a normal good deal. If you expect that, there's nowhere in the world you can go.
Yeah, you will be severely let down everywhere else you go to.
Yeah, so I think if I actually just kind of think of the prices in Poland in terms of what's a normal value, compared to, let's say, in the US, right? So in the US, California is not a good value.
No, it's not.
Okay. Where in the US would be a good value?
Nebraska.
Yeah, or even some parts of Texas. Not so much Austin anymore, but they used to be good value.
Yeah.
So Poland to me is probably at least half the price.
Oh, easily half the price.
A third of the price?
Yeah, I'd say a third.
And the infrastructure is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it on par with Chiang Mai almost, as far as maybe a little bit more expensive, but
yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but the infrastructure is way better.
Yeah, and the Western food's cheaper.
Yeah. So if you're in Chiang Mai and you're eating, steak and potatoes, drinking beer, you might as well be in Poland, because you would end up spending less money in Poland than you would in Chiang Mai doing that.
Yeah.
So if you're in Chiang Mai, if you're going to go to Thailand, make sure you're eating Thai food and you're drinking Thai whiskey, or you're not drinking at all, because alcohol has a huge tax in Thailand. Make sure you're just doing normal Thai stuff, right? Staying at a normal Thai apartment, a studio, eating Thai food, doing normal stuff, and it can be really cheap. But if you are trying to live in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment and you want to take Ubers everywhere and you want to eat like normal Western food, like meat and potatoes and drink a lot, you might as well just go to Poland.
Yeah. I think an Uber ride across town is almost the same as a tuk-tuk ride.
Yeah, like I think that's one of my favorite things about Uber there is it's so affordable. Like I never even think twice about taking one. Compared to being in Berlin now. Like
yeah, we went 2 kilometers and paid, what was it, $13?
Yeah, that's 1 mile and we paid, I thought, was it 13 euros or $13? Whatever it was
euro.
A lot. It was insane. I'm like, you can't, and here's the thing is, so the reason why it's so expensive is Uber is actually not allowed in Berlin. So they got kicked out and instead of just leaving Berlin and this kind of big hotspot, they made a deal with the taxi companies and they said, okay, you can use our app to call taxis. We'll collect payment for you. I don't even think they're taking any money. This is what I heard. That's the rumor.
Uber's not taking any money.
Yeah, I've heard Uber's actually not making any money from it. They're just breaking even just to kind of keep market share and keep people using the app and getting used to it. So in hopes that if the law does change, that they have the infrastructure, they can kind of just roll it out.
They'll just own the ride sharing.
It's so stupid. I honestly really don't like countries that don't have Uber. I really think any city or any country that doesn't allow Uber has either corruption or backwards thinking.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Since Uber's my primary, I hate taking trains and buses because I'm never around long enough, or at least I haven't been in any city long enough to kind of learn the bus routes and the train routes. And every time I have to go somewhere, I have to open up Google Maps and try to figure it out. I would much rather just Uber around. It's just so much easier.
Yeah, like I love it so much, and I don't even mind having some. Like in some places, I think in Portugal, they have a lot of regulation with Uber. They make everyone go through like stringent background tests and they have to actually go through like a company. So it's not easy. Like you can't actually just sign up to be an Uber driver in Portugal. You have to almost go through another company that is willing to do all the background checks and the rules and everything. But they have it. It's cheap and it works. So I know for sure you can have some kind of negotiate. I'm sure Uber is willing to negotiate a little bit.
I always thought Uber paid for the background checks and everything. I thought they like financed cars.
I think Uber will bend over backwards to be in a city. I really believe so. I really think that like cities that don't want it, either getting kickbacks from the top, like the taxi mafia or lobbyists, know a politician that's kind of keeping it back. And I really dislike anywhere that doesn't allow Uber. There's always something wrong with it. It's always overpriced. It's always corrupt. There's always something kind of backwards thinking of it. And Berlin, my God, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so even a train ride is €270, which is over $3 for like, I guess that's not that bad, but like you end up taking it 4 times a day.
Yeah.
So you end up spending $12 on just that.
Yep.
The co-working space was €15 per day, which was $18.
Yeah, and it had the shittiest sign-up process ever.
Oh man! So normally when you want to go to a co-working space, you just basically walk up, you give them $10, right?
Yeah.
And you say thank you.
$10 and an email address, and you're good to go.
You're good. And they give you a little tour. They say, here's some free coffee, here's some water. First off, this place didn't have free coffee or water. Luckily, we happened to be there on a day where they had these startup demos, which is actually pretty cool. You got to see, some startups like kind of pitch what's happening, like what they're doing. So I think it's either once a week or once a month. They have like a breakfast and they have some free coffee. But immediately after the pitch, coffee was gone, and they don't even have free water.
Yeah, I was impressed at how fast that German efficiency when they cleaned up the breakfast.
Everything was gone.
Yeah, right after the last sentence. I was like, holy shit.
So I don't really expect like good coffee. To me, it's like a perk, right? Because, like my favorite co-working space in the world, Pun Space in Chiang Mai, they don't have good coffee for free. They have like Nescafe and, it's pretty crap, right?
Instant.
But at least they have water. At least they have like cups and they have like a big jug of filtered water.
Yeah, I was drinking out of the sink today.
and like they didn't have cups.
Yeah,
like we had to wash these container things where they keep forks in. I mean, they were cups, but they weren't used for drinking. They were used to like hold spoons, and we had to tub those out and wash it. So overall, what are your thoughts of that co-working space?
It's okay. I don't want to pass judgment on it too quick. I was only there for a day. The people there were super cool.
Well, let's talk about the good things then.
Yeah. Okay. Tons of people there. Really active, I'd say entrepreneur community. I think they're mostly startups doing apps and things like that, but super cool people. A lot of them aren't from Berlin either, or at least not the people that sat at our table.
Yeah. So I think it was actually one of the more social co-working spaces I've been. I would actually be willing to say outside of Thailand, outside of Chiang Mai, maybe the most social co-working space I've been to.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Everybody kind of went to lunch together in their own separate little groups.
Yeah, but you could tell there's kind of like a community there, and very open to talk to other people as well.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is just because there's so many people there. There's like, what, 200 people there?
Yeah, they had like 30 active companies there, and then their whole downstairs area was the coffee shop, and that was just crazy packed.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't sit down there. So you could actually sit in the cafe for free and just order a coffee, but it's so loud. And you could tell the seats weren't going to be like super, comfortable for a productive day. So that's why we opted to pay the 15 euros to sit upstairs. So the couple things that I didn't like about it is, first, to me it's a little bit too big, where it's not even that the space is too big, it's that the company is too big, where it's like a bureaucracy.
Yeah.
I think they have multiple locations. And for example, the sign-up process that we talked about earlier, instead of just giving them $10 or $15, whatever, and just going in, they had to print out this, full colored, day pass on a piece of paper that used up so much ink. Yeah. And he had me fill out like my address, which I don't know why he needs it, all this information. And then he turns around and just inputs it into the computer that's like right in front of me, and the keyboard is right there. And I'm helping him input it because he can't read my writing. And I'm like, why don't you just have me input this myself?
Yeah. Or why fill it out, right? Why fill out that paper?
And then I realized they don't take credit card. You have to pay in cash. And I'm thinking, this is 2016. This is a co-working space with like 30 startups in there.
Yeah.
Have they never heard of Stripe or PayPal or like... And they wouldn't take PayPal either. They wouldn't take like nothing, just cash.
I'm actually surprised that Berlin doesn't have PayPass or Tap around here. I think every other European country I've been to, it was like the standard.
So I actually never used PayPass or Tap until just in Poland. Like you introduced me to it, so thanks for that.
Oh, yeah.
So, what is it like for people that still don't know what it is?
Well, we use PayPal or Apple Pay, but if you're not from the States, then you probably have a credit card that can just, PayPass, just tap the credit card reader, and for whatever amount you set it to, it'll just authorize.
So basically, it's a credit, like on your credit card, you can just basically touch. Well, you don't have to touch. You can basically be in the proximity of the sensor when it's reading, and it'll just go off. I didn't realize this, but Apple Pay, maybe in the beginning, it was only like the select Apple Pay like locations, like Nordstrom's or Macy's or whatever it was. But turns out you can use Apple Pay anywhere they accept Tap or PayPass, even if it doesn't say Apple Pay.
Yeah.
And that makes it a lot more convenient.
Oh, it's super convenient.
So if you guys have an iPhone and you don't have Apple Pay set it up. Like trust me, I was very reluctant to do it, and Chris had to basically beat me over the head and convince me.
Yeah, every time you go to a bar or something, you have to swipe a credit card and it's crowded, then you have to sign something. It's like it's just hell.
So I didn't realize this, but Americans were so far behind with the credit card technology.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Because so with American cards, even though it has a chip in it, we have to sign, which doesn't do anything. Like it's probably the worst possible identity protection in the world. Yeah. Nobody looks at it. We just scribble something, and like it's just pointless. It's useless. But merchants, if we have a card, if we use our cards, they have to print it out and we have to sign it for them to have a record of us saying we were here.
Yeah.
So this is how I know we're so outdated, is because every single place I went to, they had to go find a pen, just because they're so like nobody uses that anymore that they just don't even have pens on board.
Yeah, isn't that annoying? Like when there's like 5 people behind you and you're trying to order a drink or something, and you have to sign a stupid receipt and they don't have a pen. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, and I at first I was thinking like, oh man, you guys are so unprepared, but then I realized it's completely my fault.
Yeah.
And then when you showed me like how easy it is to use the PayPass or the tap, which you basically double tap your home button on your iPhone and then just put your phone somewhere close to the sensor, and it just charges you, and then it sends you an instant notification telling you exactly how much it was for. Mm-hmm. It's so easy. It makes travel so much better.
Yeah, just get a credit card with no international fees and you're good to go.
Yeah. So what cards do you use again?
I use a Citi. No, I'm sorry. I use a Capital One and I use a Amax Gold.
Okay. So what do those give you?
The Citi, I think, gives me 2%. Or I'm sorry, the Capital One, what do I keep saying Citi? Gives me 2%. And the Amax, I think, only gives me 1, but it gives me 3 for select categories.
Okay. What are your categories?
Media buys.
Okay. So how much Is this like for your advertising for your dropshipping store?
Yeah.
Okay. How much are you spending on ads per month now?
Well, it varies because I've been messing with some different things, but it's always a few grand.
Okay. And you're getting 3 points per dollar, so you're getting like what, 3 to 10,000 points a month from it?
I don't know. I never calculate it.
Okay. Oh, have you ever redeemed it for anything?
Oh, always cash.
Okay, so you just get cash back for it.
Yeah. Or travel. I usually redeem it for travel.
Travel cash, okay. So do you think of it as like, okay, well, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna buy this plane ticket, I'm gonna stay in this nice hotel, and just because it's technically free, or like how do you think of it?
I don't know. I usually just check the price in cash, and if it's available through my credit card, I'll just buy it there. It doesn't even cross my mind anymore.
Okay, but it's a nice little perk, right?
Oh, it's a great perk.
I actually, one of the things I miss the most after selling my dropshipping store is not having like 25 or 30 grand worth of reward points a month.
It's so great to open your credit card statement. It's like, oh, I can just apply this $2,000 to the bills. Perfect.
Oh, I miss it. That's why I gotta start more stores.
Yeah, but what was weird is I had to pay in cash for my flight home tomorrow because when I checked the airlines on my credit card, it was a $2,800 flight or $2,800 worth of points. I was like, what the fuck?
So, how much was the actual flight?
Less than $600.
That's cheap. So where are you flying to tomorrow?
LAX.
Okay. So tell us your itinerary.
Berlin to Iceland. I think that's like a 4-hour flight, 2-hour layover, and then I think another 13 or so to LAX.
It's so insane, man.
Yeah, I hate it.
Why are you going home?
I have a wedding to go to. There's no other reason for me to be there.
So if it wasn't for the wedding, what would you do instead?
I would either do your Poland-Ukraine trick and just come back and forth, or head back to Colombia.
Man, Colombia. I still want to go to Colombia. It's just so far and out of the way, and I don't know if I would like it that much.
I don't think you would like it that much. Like you tend to bend a lot of rules to the way you want, and that culture is really laid back, which I know you do like. But I don't know. Compared to Thailand, I think that's more your scene.
Yeah. So I'll be back in Thailand 2 weeks from now. I'm kind of excited for it, to be honest. I think it's the perfect place to just chill out, eat healthy again, get back in shape, and then actually do some real work, because I've been coasting like this summer. I've been gone since June 15th. I've just been coasting. I haven't worked at all. Yeah. I've worked, I think I can count on one hand the number of like full days I've actually worked, and it's crazy because I honestly thought that I was actually planning for my income to drop and just for me to like live off of savings for a couple months and just enjoy a summer before I go back to work and build it back up.
Yeah, you had another awesome month.
Yeah. So it was insane. Like I honestly I did not think that was possible.
You had a lot of press coverage this month too, right?
Yeah. I think I was in Business Insider, on Fox.
I remember the Fox
and
one.
Was it Forbes?
Yeah.
It's insane. Like in 1 month.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to get a ton of traffic to my blogs and this podcast. If you guys are listening, if you guys are new to the show from any of those sources, give me a shout out in the comments. Let me know where you came from, because it's always interesting how people find the show.
Why were you in Forbes?
It was for something like why San Francisco startups should move to Asia.
Okay.
And they interviewed me asking like what the digital nomad startup scene was in Chiang Mai.
Is it because you're from San Francisco?
Yeah, because I'm from San Francisco, and because I work out of Chiang Mai.
Okay.
So yeah, it's perfect. And the I think the title was like from saying like instead of being ramen profitable, be pad thai profitable.
I like it.
Yeah, it's basically just bootstrapping. Instead of eating like 25-cent ramen noodles, you can eat like $1 pad thai.
Okay.
Yeah, slightly healthier for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's so. If you guys are wondering why, like what the point of this episode is, I think it's just I want you guys to kind of like hang out with us and just come in this journey. Like I really wish that everyone listening to this could be here. Maybe not all of us in the same hotel room right now, but just like kind of be along for the journey, because I think there's so many people who are still in their 9-to-5 jobs. They're still thinking about like what it would be like to start traveling and working online, and they want to kind of like hear from like normal people that are doing it. And like I think you're one of the most normal people I know.
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty normal.
Like you don't have a blog.
No.
You don't have a podcast. You don't have any products.
Nope.
Like you literally have like you're just I don't even know how people find you. Like you said a couple people messaged you after the last interview.
Yeah.
How'd they find you?
I don't know. I never asked. I figured they just searched your friends list or something.
So like what did they say?
Just hi. Just hey, listen to your episode. It was cool. I was like, huh.
So do you have a Twitter?
No. I have nothing to announce.
But I think that's why people like like, you specifically, but also like
they
a lot of
like
the
me?
guests. Like most of my guests are just normal people.
Yeah.
And I think this is what's so inspiring to people listening. And they're like, well, if this guy can do it, why can't I do it?
Oh yeah, if this idiot can do it.
Yeah. And I think like, so, sometimes, you'll see, people who, they either make more or work less than you.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I want to get to that, like I want to be there.
Yeah, I think that's my next goal now, is to really, we talked about it the last time I was on this show, but to really, really push for a more passive income stream.
Yeah. So what have you done this last month since we talked about that?
To work towards that,
Yeah.
or what have I done generally?
To work towards it.
Not much, because we actually talked to somebody about selling the store off. I was supposed to get a VA, and God, I wrote all these stupid, now they're going to be useless SOPs, because when I go home, that might be one of the first things I do.
Is train a VA or sell the store?
Sell the store.
Nice. And did they give you an evaluation?
They did, but it was a preliminary one. They wanted to comb through our books cleaner.
Okay. But so what do they offer?
Somewhere between 130 and 150.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and I have a partner, so
Yeah, but still, that's like what, $75,000 each?
if I can get 150.
That's insane, man. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, I know, it's great.
Like, how long have you had the store for?
I want to say September 2014.
Okay. And on average, how much do you make profit per month for it?
Well, now it's different. I had 62,000 in revenue for August.
That's huge. Do you know what the
Yeah.
profit was?
Not yet.
Okay. What about? So what was last month?
I don't know. I think I want to say nearly 8.
So 8,000 profit.
Yeah.
Nice. And so you've been, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Like-
It's grown a lot this year. I kind of took over running the day-to-day stuff, and when you pay attention, whatever you give your attention to kind of grows. So
Yeah, 100% actually. And I did the exact opposite with my dropshipping store. We had the worst month we've had in a long time because I've been on vacation, so I haven't logged in at all. So that's completely my fault.
Yep.
And I kind of assumed everyone else, like my VA and then Larissa would also, they'd be on top of it.
Yeah.
But I think because I wasn't paying attention, nobody else was paying attention. So my freaking customer service guy hasn't answered calls in like 3 weeks.
What the hell was he doing?
I think he was on vacation. He's like, oh, John's on vacation, so I can take a vacation. So we haven't made a sale in 3 weeks, and
It's awful.
And I found out like customers were trying to call in to like, wanting to buy stuff, basically, saying like, oh, if I order today, how long is it gonna take to ship? Didn't answer, didn't return the call, nothing. So I almost fired him. I basically told him, I said, look, if you cannot like answer the calls between 9 and 5 Monday through Friday, and you can't do XYZ, I'm gonna have to find someone else. And I think he knows I'm serious, and it sucks. It's such bad timing because I'm going on this cruise for 2 weeks and I want to train someone else. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like randomly call him just to make sure, maybe from different phone numbers, and just to make sure he's picking up the phone. And if he does, then everything's probably fine. He learned his lesson. But if he doesn't answer, I'm gonna have to get rid of him.
Weren't you doing that before when you hired someone from Craigslist?
Yeah, like I I really think that most employees pretty lazy.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, I think that's why people are employees, and they will like get away with as little work as possible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it sucks, like you would think they would want to crush it, and that's why like I was giving him incentives too, saying like, if someone calls in and they end up buying something like while they're on the phone, I'll give you a spiff. I'll give you like commission for it. Just 'cause I want him to kind of encourage him to be excited about the call and take the sale, But then I think he was kind of like, I don't know. I think he was getting lazy about it.
Yeah, weren't we lazy employees?
I was such a bad employee.
Yeah,
Like, that's why I understand why he's doing it, and I understand I gave him too much leeway, and I have to put my foot down. I think as an employer, I think this is a valuable lesson where you have to set rules. You have to put your foot down.
Yeah, it's a fine balance.
Oh, that's insane. But, congratulations on getting that first evaluation.
No, thank you.
Like, did you expect that number to be that high?
Yes and no, because I was talking to you about yours, and like, obviously a lot of other people have sold stores recently, and just comparing their revenue numbers and their take home.
Do you know what the valuation, like the multiple they used to get that 150K?
No, I don't.
Yeah. So do you know what your like tailing 12 months of profit was like on average?
No, it's gone up every month this year. Okay. So to give an average would be a little bit weird.
So what you want to do to figure this out is go through your spreadsheets and basically add up the last 12 months of profit and divide that by 12. And and that's your average monthly, and then multiply that by, let's say 27, which is my multiple, and that's what your business is worth.
Okay.
That's your homework, Chris.
Oh.
And Chris is the spreadsheet master.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can do that formula in your head.
Oh, I probably could.
I like it. So what are your plans now for the next couple of months?
I don't know. We kind of came to Berlin on a last minute idea from you. Actually, we were going to stay in Poland and then just fly home from there, but you gave me a call randomly and said, hey, book a train ticket to Berlin. I want to get a hotel. I was like, shit, okay.
So basically, here's what happened. I was in Ukraine, and Chris was supposed to come there to meet me, and he, for whatever reason, didn't want to come because he was lazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's your birthday. I'll come to you. I'll come to Warsaw, hang out. And Poland's a fun place, and I'm sure we would have went out, we would have drank and just had a good night. But I was like, you know what? You've been in Warsaw for 2 months now.
Yeah.
Like, we probably can go to the same bars that we always go to. Let's do something crazy, And I'm meeting my parents in Amsterdam tomorrow to start the cruise. And I was looking at the routes and I'm like, you know what? From Poland, I'd have to go through Berlin anyways to get to Amsterdam by train. So I was like, you know what? Let's just go to Berlin. It's fucking wild here. We can go out and drink and do crazy stuff. I was like, let's just do that. So this is how we ended up here.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool too. Got to see another city. Yeah. We did a 6-hour bike tour yesterday. That was fun but exhaustive.
What do you think the city's like as a whole?
We were only here. Well, I was only here for 4 days, so I don't want to prejudge a city, just based on that. But so far it's just okay. Yeah. People are super friendly though.
People are so nice, surprisingly nice, and very tolerant.
Tolerant.
Like when I was ordering, breakfast, and I don't speak any German.
You mean patient?
Patient. Yeah, very patient. I would say that. But I sound like this stupid American trying to order food.
Yeah.
And I can't read anything, and I'm I'm just asking too many questions.
And I think you try to talk with a German accent for some reason, dude. I don't know. That might be it too.
I think that helps them understand. And then the waitresses and the servers are just so freaking patient. I almost can't believe it.
Yeah, I know. Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. And I wonder if it's because they're in their culture they've been through so much that it's kind of just it's just now there's we have to be patient, we have to be tolerant,
we have to be nice,
we have to be nice to everyone, we have such a bad reputation. I think that's what it is, especially the older generation. But even the younger people are super nice.
Yeah.
Everyone we've asked for directions have gone out of their way to really help us.
Yeah. It's like Thailand.
Yeah, so Berlin, I would say people awesome. Infrastructure not that great.
Yeah. Why is there graffiti everywhere?
Yeah, and they think it's cool. I don't think it's cool. They like everything kind of grungy and kind of dirty. Not my favorite scene. The thing that annoyed me the most was not being able to get a SIM card at the train station.
Yeah.
Then go walking over to wherever the SIM card, wherever the shops are, they sell it. And the first shop was called O2, which is one of their carriers, and there's only one guy working there, which seems like a common theme because I think their minimum wage is so high. There's always just one person working, and that person was selling, was activating a new phone for someone, and I felt so bad. I wanted to tell this guy the new iPhone is going to come out in a month.
So he was buying an iPhone.
He was buying an iPhone. And I'm sure this guy sold him so this guy sold him an iPhone, a 6S for full price. I'm sure it was $1,000 or whatever it was.
Nice.
Or put him on a 2-year contract. And I felt really bad because this guy was a construction worker, he's a painter. You could tell you had paint on his boots, and he was there with his girlfriend, and he probably didn't want to look cheap, And I just wanted to tell him to hold off, or buy a used one. You're just wasting your money. But anyways, I was patiently waiting for probably at least 20 minutes, and I get to the front. I'm like, hi, can I buy a SIM card? And he says, oh, we don't sell SIM cards anymore. You have to buy it with the phone.
You mean prepaid?
Prepaid. Or I don't even know if they just sell SIM cards. I think they're they just want you to buy a phone, sign up for a contract.
So buy a phone, get a free SIM card.
Something like that. Yeah. And I was like, no, I just want, no, I don't even need a number. I just need a data SIM card, some prepaid thing. And he's like, no, we don't have it. And I said, I know you have it. And he said, no, this location is individually owned, and the boss decided not to sell them anymore because it's not profitable enough. And I was like, you can't just not sell something because you decided it's not not worth your time or not profitable enough. You either got to make either just mark it up, make it more expensive, make a profit, or tell HQ hey, you got to do something about it. But you can't just not carry it. That's like a chain of Subway saying you know what, I don't want to carry turkey on this one. Like, our profit's not that good. We're just not going to have it. And I was so annoyed because I wasted 20 minutes standing in line.
Yeah.
And as I was explaining to this guy, I realized there's people waiting behind me. So I'm like, forget about it. And he's like trying to explain to me like why they don't have it. I'm like, you know what? Let me just talk. I was like, I want to yell at your boss, I want to tell him he's a freaking idiot. He's like wasting everyone's time. So then I walk 2 doors down and I see a Vodafone. Luckily, everything's fine. They give me a SIM card. It's 10 euros, which for only 750 megabytes, which is the smallest package like anywhere in Europe.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember what we got in Poland?
I think we got 9 gigs for like 10 zloty or something. It was ridiculous.
So it was, I think it was 8 gigs, and it was like $5 or less, I think. And it worked perfectly. Everything was fine. Even though now Poland has this stupid registration process, which is annoying as crap. I wrote a blog post about it as well and a long Facebook rant.
That's normal as hell anywhere else.
So I don't mind registering and giving my ID for a SIM card. The problem with Poland is they implemented this new rule, but they didn't put any infrastructure behind it. So it's one of the only countries in the world now that you cannot get a SIM card at an airport. Like, I think that should be a requirement for business travelers, for, even for tourists. You want them to be able to get around, to be able to communicate, to be able to buy stuff, be able to like go on trains, call Ubers,
Yeah, what a mess to be lost for like the first 2 hours without a SIM card.
Yeah, it sucked. Like, it really sucked. I was like so disappointed. And so I had to go into the city center, find my way into the city center with no data, which is which is hard to do. And then I found one of their shops called Plus, and he said, "Oh yeah, we can give you a SIM card. It's going to take 7 days to activate." And I was like, I'm not even here for 7 days. This is stupid. Why would you do that? So then I had to find another carrier, and luckily Play was able to activate it within an hour. So it was this big ordeal. It was a big waste. I think I wasted an hour and a half doing that. But at least it worked, and then I got my 8 gigs.
Yeah.
But here in Berlin, which is, Germany's supposed to be like this first world country, like, technologically advanced.
Oh man, German efficiency.
Yeah. And 750 megs, for $12. And then after I used like 40 megabytes, it just stopped working. At 40 megabytes is like, downloading some maps, uploading like 4 photos. It was just gone.
Just syncing your email.
Yeah, just gone. And then I could not figure it out. I'm like, I checked my data usage, and I'm like, I didn't use it. I was really careful about it. I tried to go to the Vodafone, and then I found out they closed at 7 o'clock. So then I was like, okay, I'll go tomorrow. So today, I was like, I really need it to get to the train station so I can get on my freaking train to Amsterdam tomorrow, or at least have some internet in the morning. So we leave the co-working space at 6 o'clock, and we take 2 buses, and we literally run with backpacks and our laptops to try to get to the store before it closed.
Yeah, you ran. I kind of just walked behind you. I'll catch up to you.
I like sprinted there, and I got there at 6:59, 1 minute before supposed to close. And then I looked at the sign, and it said closes at 6:30. Who closes at 6:30?
Those are such abnormal operating hours.
It's like 10 a.m. to 6:30.
Yeah, I think anywhere, especially in the U.S., I think they would be open till like 11 p.m.
Or at least like 9.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like a normal time,
Yeah, someone can get there after work or something.
And I was so pissed, and like I was like, you know what? There better be someone in here, because I was so like pissed off. So I started banging on the windows.
Yeah, I couldn't believe you were doing that.
But it works, because the guy that was working there came out.
He probably thought bricks were coming through his windows.
I was like literally that pissed.
Yeah, I could tell.
And he came out, and like, but then I was like really rational with him, and he was a nice guy, and I was explaining to him, I was like, look, I popped this data card from you 2 days ago. I only used 40 megs. Like, it just stopped working. Can you fix it? And this guy had no idea how to use an iPhone. He works at a cell phone store. The iPhone has not changed in 7 years, and he wasn't even like, he was trying to press the home button, but instead of pressing the button in the center, which everybody can tell was a button, he was just pressing like the side. There was like no button at all.
Was he wearing glasses or something? Maybe
No,
he just
nothing.
couldn't see the...
Just like nothing. He just like had no idea how to use his phone. And then he spends the next like 30 minutes on the phone with like the call center, and they're walking him through like, is the phone on? Like, is blah 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 on? Have you tried this? And I said to him, I was like, look, I'm pretty sure it's not the phone or the settings. I think there's something wrong with my account. And he he checks. He's like, no, your account's fine. You know, you have data on there. It's fine. Another 30 minutes passed. I think I was there for an hour. Another, like an hour passed, and then he's like, oh, I think there's something wrong with your account. And I feel like I spent half of my trip in Germany either inside the Vodafone shop or trying to get there.
Just visiting cell phone stores in Berlin is your favorite pastime here?
Oh, I hated it. It was like, I mean, things like this, like, it drives me crazy because it's such a waste of time for anyone. And it's bad for the economy because they're not making any money while I'm in there. You know, like, I'm using up their staff hours. The city itself is not making money because I'm not out there spending money. I would have happily been out having beers or, you know, doing something. And like, it's, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Like these big companies are these monopolies that provide subpar, crappy service, and there's no other options.
Yeah. Didn't you get an international SIM card?
So for my cruise, because I'm going to be going to 5 or 6 countries in 12 days, and I was afraid that some of them wouldn't be able to get a SIM card, so I bought one. I don't even remember the name, but I wouldn't recommend them anyways. So it was, I think, how much did they want per gig? Was it like $50?
It was something ridiculous per megabyte, I think.
No, it wasn't per megabyte. It was per gig, but I think it was like $40 or $50 per gig. Okay. Just stupid. But my idea was, okay, I'll just buy 1 gig and only use it to call Ubers or Google Maps. But after this experience and knowing how much data can be used, like loading a map or like background refresh, I don't even think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm just gonna not activate it.
Yeah, throw that thing away.
So global SIM cards, they suck. Like, not recommended. I think in almost zero circumstances is it worth it.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you, I'm going to go home. I'm going to switch my phone to Google and just throw support their way. You know, they're going to offer international 4G too, I think.
So I like that. So can you explain what Google Fi is?
Yeah, it's Google's cell phone service, but I think it switches between T-Mobile and Sprint, and I have a T-Mobile right now. But they're going to offer, well, it has worldwide 3G, but I'm pretty sure in some countries it's shitty 2G or Edge, which is what I get in Berlin right now.
It's terrible though. You can like hardly use it.
Well, yeah, it's unusable. But I think Google's gonna roll out for international 4G where it's available. Where it's available, I have no idea.
I think once they roll that out, it'll be a good deal. But I think for now, it's still, even though it's such a pain in the ass in some countries, it's still worth it just to buy local SIM.
Yeah.
I think my travel advice to people would be to travel less.
Travel less.
Like stay, like instead of bouncing from country to country and spending half of your time in a store, if you go somewhere for at least 2 weeks or a month, even if you spent the first day in a T-Mobile store or, a Vodafone store, at least, you know, you have 29 days to use that SIM card, then it's worth it. But if you're here for 3 days, you have to have a SIM card in this day and age, but you don't want to spend like one of the 3 days just chasing that down.
Yeah, like if I was doing my old style of travel where I was just in a city for 3 or 4 nights, move to another city another 3 or 4 nights, and go back home, I wouldn't want to be hunting down SIM cards in the meantime. And I would definitely want data while I was here on vacation or whatever.
So that is my travel like a boss tip: is travel slower. We always think we should squeeze in more places and do more.
Yeah, don't
do it. Just skip like the crappy places. Like let us be like the crash dummies or the pin tests, you know? Just skip places that you don't need to be.
Yeah.
Go to the awesome places that we already figured out like they're worth being in. Stay for a month. It's always cheaper to stay for a month.
Yeah, and you get to eat at all the cool restaurants and go to all the bars that you want to see. You know, if you're in and out in like 3 or 4 days, you have to pick and choose.
And I think a lot of people assume in their heads that 4 days is a long time, but it's not.
No, I'm not over jet lag for like a week now, so I'm just like, no, I'm going to chill out for a week and then I'll go see the sights or whatever.
So like with your friends that come travel, like when they're back home, like how long is their normal vacation?
Like 10 working days, maybe, or like 10 days, something like that.
Like, and to us, it's insane now.
Oh yeah, I would never take like a 10-hour flight to stay somewhere for a week.
I think this should be a rule. For every hour you're flying, you need to be there for
1 day.
I would say more than that. I would say bare minimum 2 days per hour you're flying.
2 days per hour, so a month minimum everywhere.
Pretty much. No, okay. So like, let's say you're flying to Vegas from California. That's what? Hour flight? 2 days.
Okay.
All right. Let's say you're flying to New York. 4-hour flight.
Okay. Okay. I was thinking more international.
Yeah, be a week. All right. So if you're gonna go international, 14-hour flight, 28 days. Right?
Yeah. We can test that and see if that works. It sounds good in theory, but
okay. If you're gonna go to South America from here, it might be a 30-hour flight.
Yeah. Oh god.
You gotta go for 2 months. So this is the new rule, hard and fast, set in stone. For every hour of flight, 2 days.
I like it. The travel like a boss life pro tip.
Okay. Remember that, guys, when you guys are making your plans. Any like kind of travel tips that you've picked up along the way?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Any travel mistakes that you would like to avoid?
Everything's gone pretty smoothly for me, honestly. Right? Like, I've always had a friend in a country. God, I had a lost luggage issue, but other than that, it was really easy.
I think that might be the tip, is you normally go to places where you have a friend, right?
Yeah, this whole time. Anywhere I landed, I was always able to call someone up and say, hey, I've arrived.
So what if people don't have that connection? What can they do?
For me personally, what I do is I immediately find a jiu-jitsu school. And in Warsaw, we went to a lot of meetups, and that was cool. And somehow we always gravitate towards the English speakers, always a crew of Americans. I don't know how the hell that always works out. But yeah, just immediately go to a meetup.
So either literally through meetup.com or a Facebook group or an event at a co-working space or a jiu-jitsu class. If you're going to go somewhere new and you want to meet locals or expats that are hanging out, you have to do it.
Yeah. I mean, not every place has like a good co-working scene. So you kind of have to go to like a Facebook group. And
But I was actually surprised. Every country I've been to that they've had a co-working space, and then they've always it's always like pretty decent. It's almost surprising. Like even in freaking like Bucharest, Romania, it was like one of the nicest co-working spaces I've been to.
Strong community?
Not strong as in like travelers and other digital nomads, but strong community as in people that are living there. Or, some of them are expats, and enough people there where you're not gonna be lonely. You have someone to have lunch with. But I think there's so few places in the world where people actually travel through. Chiang Mai is definitely it. To a small point, Bali, like in a very small scale. Berlin, I guess, just because there's enough people that come through. But for Chiang Mai is like 100 times bigger than every other place I've been to. Like I'd be willing to bet more digital nomads travel through Chiang Mai on any given day and meet each other and do kind of nomad stuff than pretty much the rest of the world combined.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That's like one of the biggest hubs I've ever seen.
Do you miss it at all?
Yeah, all the time. $4 massages. I can walk to a massage and walk back to my apartment and then walk to Pun Space and just make that my routine for a couple of days. Like, you can hammer out work there like no other.
Oh, I miss it so much now. Chiang Mai, I'm coming back for you. And actually, we had Thai food for lunch today, which is funny. This is my first time having Thai food.
Oh, it was Vietnamese food.
No, but it was technically a Vietnamese restaurant, but they had sushi.
Oh, that's right.
Which is definitely not Vietnamese.
That's right.
And they had masaman duck curry, which I guess is Thai.
Is that Thai?
Masaman curry is Thai.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, okay. So masaman curry actually means Muslim curry, I believe. But I think it's from like Malaysia or Penang or something like that area. Well, I guess maybe not Penang, because Penang would be Penang curry. But I think it's like a Malaysian Muslim curry. But it's just popular in Thailand for whatever reason.
Oh, nice. Whatever it was my first time having it. I loved it.
Yeah.
In Germany of all places.
Yeah. We went to a beer garden yesterday for Chris's birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
on the bike tour, right?
Yeah, what'd you think of that? No, we went to a beer garden for lunch and then for dinner again, remember?
Oh, that's right. We went to 2 beer gardens. That was cool.
What are your thoughts on German beer?
I'm not a huge beer fan, but German beer is pretty good. I think my favorite was, I don't remember where I had it. Was that unpasteurized beer?
I don't remember where we had it either, but in general...
Was that not... Oh, maybe that was in Germany.
Yeah, I think that was in Poland.
Was it Poland?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was in Poland.
Okay.
But like... It's weird in the US, like German beer has the reputation of being like the best. And here, like it's good, but it's definitely not the best.
Where would you say the best is?
Czech Republic, for sure. If you want like pure great beer, Czech Republic is the best beer. And it's so cheap. It's like 75 euro cents.
Wow.
If you want the best like flavored beer, it'd be Belgium. So Czech Republic, the beers are like the unpasteurized, filtered or unfiltered beer. Some like white beers and wheat beers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So just like very basic, but like done well, Mm-hmm. Like the Hodger Gracie of beer.
The Hodger Gracie of beer. I like that.
And so for those who don't know who Hodger Gracie is,
oh, he's one of the best jiu-jitsu competitors ever.
But what makes him so good?
He's just a master of fundamentals.
Yeah. So basically,
nothing flashy at all.
Nothing flashy. Just the basics done really well.
Yeah. But he always finishes his matches by submission.
Just like you're gonna finish your Czech beer.
Yeah. Well, I got a life pro tip for travel. Never book a place before you see it in person. So if you land in a city, you can find an Airbnb for 1 or 2 nights, and if you like it, you can hit the owner up on WhatsApp and make a deal in person off of Airbnb, so that they're not recording your texts, and make him a deal in cash, and you can usually get a 25%.
Oh, because is that the Airbnb charge?
I don't know if it's Airbnb charge, but if you can book 1 or 2 or more than 2 weeks at a time to a month, they'll give you a discount on Airbnb for like a volume discount.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Except I would say the downside of that is if it's a busy time, they might be booked up.
Yeah, so far it's done me really well.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as a way to save money, especially if you're like flexible.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really want to stay in a place and you want to risk it, like,
well,
no.
you'll know in one day. Just go there, stay there for one night, and then you can message the host the next day.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
It's what I've done the whole time.
I think that what Airbnb needs to do to kind of offset that is kind of encourage like monthly rentals. You know, because I see sometimes where they'll have a discount like 10 or 25%.
Yeah.
But I think what they need to do is, instead of Airbnb charging, I don't know what their fees are, but they should give a fee break to the person, the host. You know, so like instead of like if they're gonna do a month, instead of them paying 20% or whatever it is for the whole month, because it's such a long period, I think they should give them a break on there as well. I think that would make sense.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, because they're not doing as much work. You know, I mean, even though it's all automated anyways, but Airbnb, like they're finding you one client.
There's not as many transactions.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys are listening, Airbnb, that's our pro tip to you. All right, so it's been fun. It's 1 a.m. and I have to be up in 6 hours to go on the train. Oh my God. To go on the train to Amsterdam. I'm going to have 1 night in Amsterdam, and then I'm going to get on a cruise ship for the next 12 nights.
Yeah, what a rough life you have, buddy.
You know what? It's gonna be an epic one. So I'll see you guys next week. Chris, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, it's been fun. The next time, where am I gonna see you next?
Possibly Hawaii.
Yeah, you gonna come out for the dropship retreat?
Possibly,
dude. You come out. You have to come out.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I might still be lazy and tired and just.
Dude, you can't be too lazy to go to Hawaii.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but either way, I'll see you in LA in October before I go.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe in Hawaii. All right. So if you guys want to keep in touch with Chris, you can't.
Yeah, I got nothing for you.
Just stop by his jiu-jitsu school. It's not even his school.
No, it's not.
But leave a comment. I'll pass it forward.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks, buddy. All right. See everyone next week. Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.